Hey there, crafty crew. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be learning how to make our own silicone molds for wax melts. The mold that we will be working on today is a pecan mold that will also be used in our video next week for how to make the waffles wax melts with syrup drizzle. So when that video comes out, I will go ahead and link that down below. As usual, if you have any questions or crafty requests, please leave them down in the comments below. Alright, now let's get into the supplies that we will need to make our silicone mold. Please keep in mind that these supplies apply to my chosen method of making my silicone molds and the specific silicone kit that I have chosen to use. Other silicone kits and other methods may require other supplies. First, a silicone kit. This is a 2-part silicone kit from Let's Resin. A stirring tool. I mainly use jumbo popsicle sticks from Walmart. Something to measure and stir your silicone in. Keep in mind that if your silicone kit in particular says to measure by volume and not by weight, you want to get a container that has the volume measures on the side. However, if your silicone kit says to measure by weight instead of volume, having the volume measures on the side doesn't matter. A scale. Again, this will depend on what your specific kit says you need to do for measuring. These next items are what I use to make sure that I can reuse whatever it is that I am pouring my silicone into to set. If you would prefer to toss away whatever it is that you're pouring your silicone into to make your mold, by all means use a disposable pan or construct something completely out of cardboard. That way you can throw it away. Cereal box cardboard, double-sided tape, scissors, a pencil, a baking pan with enough depth to accommodate whatever it is that you're making a mold of. This pan is just from Dollar Tree, a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks, and lastly, the item or items that you will be making a silicone mold of. And now that we have what we need, we can move on to the process. The first thing we need to do is line the bottom of the pan. If you're using a method that allows you to toss away whatever you're pouring your silicone into afterwards, you can go ahead and skip forward to the gluing of the pecans. So the first thing that we will do to prepare to line the pan is set our pan on top of the cereal box cardboard on the non-printed side and trace it with the pencil. Once the pan has been traced, we can cut it out. Keep in mind that once cut out, this will be just a little bit bigger than the inside of the pan because we traced the outside of the pan. So as you're cutting, just cut a little bit inside of that pencil line. This way it will fit inside of the pan. Once the cardboard is cut, we can put double-sided tape on the printed side of the cereal box cardboard and then press it down into the bottom of our baking pan. Now that that's secure, we can begin gluing down the pecans onto the cereal box cardboard. Now that the pecans are glued down, all we need to do is follow the instructions that came with our silicone kit to properly measure, mix, and pour our silicone. In this case, with Let's Resin, it says to measure this out 1:1 by weight. Then we stir for 3 minutes. Once measured and stirred, we can pour it over the pecans. Alright, now that the pecans are covered with silicone, we can go ahead and leave this to set for about 12 hours. Okay, really quick, I made a gigantic mistake during the filming of the B-roll for this video, and this is such an important mistake that this is going in the main video because this could have happened to anyone. Down below, I will not be linking the double-sided tape that I put on screen earlier in this video. I will be putting what I normally use because I attempted to try a new double-sided tape and that failed miserably. Thankfully, I was quick on my feet and I was able to come up with a solution for how to fix my mistake. And I will go ahead and roll those clips. So this silicone mold has completely set. However, I had an issue when I poured this. So my tape was not good enough. This is the double-sided kind of crafters tape that I was using. So I would not recommend, don't use this. I will link the tape that I normally use. I just did not have the tape that I normally use for making this. So my cardboard started lifting up from the bottom of the pan. So it was basically floating to the top of my silicone to a point where these pecans were not going to be covered. So what I did is I have these magnets from when I make polymer clay magnets. So I took some of them and put them inside of the silicone and just let them kind of pull that cardboard back down. So just as a heads up, if that is ever happening to you, make sure that you have some of these around. So your mold might look a little crazy, but you're gonna save yourself a lot of money in silicone if you have these, because this has happened to me before, and this was before I kept these around, and I completely had to toss that silicone mold because at the time there was no way for me to fix that. So now the silicone has fully set and we can remove the mold from the pan and then take all of the pecans out of the cavities. If you're having trouble getting your mold out of your pan, try using a spoon. Having the spoon between the mold and the pan usually helps me get my mold out if I'm having some problems. Now that the silicone mold is out of the pan and all of the pecans are out of the cavities, all we need to do is wash this mold and let it dry before use. And once we let the silicone mold dry, we can go ahead and use it for our wax melts. Okay, so here's the finished silicone mold. I've gotten it cleaned and I'll show you where these magnets were. So I had one right here and there were two here and here. There was one right here. Then there were two a little bit too close together right here. And here's how the pecan wax melts turned out. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like, and if you would like to see future videos, subscribe. Happy making!